Hey, church, we want to thank you for joining us today. This is an uncut chat with Dad, and I've had the privilege of being his son for the last 28 years, and it's been a long time. And as I've grown up, our relationship has also evolved, and it's very interesting to have a father like Pastor Moses Singh, who's been married to my mom for many years, I think 30 years soon. And he has a lot of lessons in life, a lot of things that you can learn on and glean into. So, Dad, thank you for joining us.
Great, thank you.
I don't know if you've been interviewed in a long time, but I thought we should have a chat. Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Thank you.
So, when you were first married to Mom and you lived the couple life for, say, about 2, 3 years, 4 years, and then you had me, what was the greatest change in you that you experienced?
I think the greatest change that took place after having your son was to really understand the heart of God.
Yeah.
I've never understood the heart of God till I had my own child.
Yeah.
Because when I saw your little hands, little feet, when I holded you, it just reminded me how God is compared to who I am and how God is. Just whole understanding the heart of God, the love that God has for us.
Yeah. Did you feel you became more selfless?
Yes, of course. That's first thing that happens is that your life becomes centered all upon others. So it's no longer you, it's all about your children. And that's what happened. We just madly in love with the child. You got so much love that you want to be with that, you want to protect that child, you want to, it's the center of your focus.
Yeah. Everything changes when you're first-time father, right?
Yes.
And as a father, growing up in, doing ministry and working, and then also having a marriage to grow, what was the challenge for you?
I think the challenge was time because I had to make sure that the bills were paid, and so we're going to make sure that the house needs are met, and I'll make sure that I could take care of my wife and then ministry, and then also take you guys to feed you for the duck feeding time, the games and activities that we used to have. So there was time was a big challenge, and then we also had a limited resource, which we never felt lack. In one way, we knew that God was always there. In the right timing, God would provide. So we never really felt a lack. We knew that God is always a supernatural God, where He provided for us and for our needs. So we never really felt lack. God provided us. We never felt lack of the energy, lack of strength. Never got tired. In fact, every time when I saw you and Shakina, I was so energized. And I think it reminds me of my parent telling me, बेटा जब मैं तुमको देखता हूँ मैं बहुत खुश हो जाता हूँ या मेरी थकावट दूर हो जाती है. So that was the reminding of exactly how I felt. And I think about God, when He sees us, He gets really excited. I think Heavenly Father is really excited when we are happy when He sees us.
We live in a very delicate generation where there's a lack of fathers, where a lot of fathers have left their children, abandoned their children. A lot of fathers have with their mistakes or their issues have caught up to them, right? And for whatever reason. Now, for a child that doesn't have a father, and for a child that has not experienced what true fathering looks like, what do you say to them?
I think fathers play a very important role in the family. I appreciate all the mothers that are raising their children as a solo parenting. It's a challenge, but I really appreciate those mothers, and I want to just thank all the mothers that are playing the double role in the life of a child. But having a male figure in a home plays a very important. And I want to encourage all the fathers that are watching today, if you could adopt other children that don't have. They said in New Zealand, every third child that you see doesn't have a father, which is a huge number.
That's big.
Yeah, that's in New Zealand alone. So many of them by birth have never seen their father. So it's one of the deficiency in their life of not seeing a male figure. And so in their mind, the image of God. Because I think a father plays a role. The number one role a father plays in the life of a family, and especially in the mind of a child, is the role of God. Because the concept of God comes from a child, and it comes in a child's mind through a father he sees. So if there is no father, he will have no image of what God is. And so it's a misconception that he has. So I think it's a very, very important to have a child. And then there's a lot of dysfunctions happens, and there is a lot of issues that children have because they have no one to approve, no one to support, no one to get counsel from. And so they feel very lonely, very isolated, and it's very, very sad. And I pray, I want to be a father to every child, especially in our church. When I see any child that doesn't have a father, I want to be their father as much as I could, to lead them, guide them, and be with them.
It's interesting because, you said 1 in 3 children are experiencing a lack of fathering, right? Now, when in the child's mind, when they don't have a father, they grow up in, they grow up independent. They grow up thinking they are the source. So when they meet Jesus or the grace of God, and they meet the Father's heart, it's very hard for them to relate to God because now they have to let go of what they once hold. So I feel like when people meet God, there's a lot to let go. There's a lot to unlearn. There's a lot to release.
Yep.
You know?
A lot of rejections are there.
Yeah,
a lot
rejection is the biggest.
A lot of lie they have believed. Because see, the enemy is always speaking negativity, especially the media that they watch in the feed, the things that they're feeding themselves with. Most of them are negative. So, many of them, in fact, they say that people don't have father are the one who becomes more in crime, more in prison. They are more suicidal. It's just a lot of negative. Don't want to study, don't want to have motivation in life. So there's just so many reasons not having. And I think it's so sad because the enemy wants to destroy humanity, and the way he does it by taking the father, stealing the father. But and I want to also encourage those people that don't have fathers, that there is a heavenly Father.
Yeah, absolutely.
That cares for them.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Now I want to take a turn. I want to go back to our circumstance. Like raising me would have been a very interesting journey for you. Challenge. I reckon it would have been challenging. What was the greatest challenge for you?
Controlling you. Joshua was a very hyperactive child. He could never sit in one place. We used to call him pant in the he's got ants in his pants. That means he could never sit anywhere. His mind was there. If he heard some music, he'll be playing with his head, and he'll be playing tabla. If you saw somebody playing tabla, he uses his head to play tabla. He will use cars. He will take spoons and start hitting anywhere. He was always.
So what did you do?
Mother was a major one playing a role in you because she was always there for you. I think you always got a lot of hiding from us, a lot of discipline. I think it was very firm. We wanted you to know what is right and what is wrong, so we tried to push that. We create fear in you. One of the things was we showed you videos on hell was. I don't even remember that video. And so you would always get, hell, oh, I don't want to go to hell. And then as a small boy, you got the picture of hell, that hell was a danger. Because we wanted to make them understand that the fear, it was unhealthy fear, but really healthy fear is very important. And I think healthy fear is to put in the mind of a child that there is a God. And when we honor God, we fear Him, then we will avoid all the evil.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a very interesting question now. This is going to be an interesting question, guys. If you were to have another child right now, right? How would you raise them different to how you raised me and Shakina?
Sadly, if I had the same wisdom that now I know, and the books that I've read and knowledge I have, then I would have raised you. But I think I would have affirmed more. I would have been speaking more life, prophesied over you more, even though we did that. But I know the power of language, power of word that's there. I would have not give you more toys, but give you more approval and support you to build that and try to build more potential and help you to recognize that earlier age and equip you in that area to mentor you more in that direction. That I think a lot of fathers miss that because we have no knowledge of it. We didn't have resources. We didn't have internet for many years, so we had no knowledge of it. We were just looking for patterns, how to be a father, how to be a pastor, how to run a church, we had no knowledge. So we thank God for the technology.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. You'll never have another child by God's grace.
But I do have a lot of children now. Lots of children. They are spiritual children. And I see them different. So I still feel very strongly bringing the best in every believer.
Absolutely.
Every child is called for destiny. Every person is called for a purpose. And so our job as a pastor is not to own them, but to release them in God's purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to say while we end?
I'm so proud of you, son.
Yeah, thank you.
And the way you become grown up, and it's nothing to do. I don't think I can take any credit. It goes to my wife, my beautiful wife, Alice.
No, I think you also.
And of course, my grandparents, your grandparents,
Yeah.
they invested a lot. Your family, you have extended family that supported.
Yeah.
And so we are so blessed. But then we also have ICLC family that forgive you, accepts you, loves you. And it's a great family to be in. So we enjoyed being a part of this beautiful community that God's put here in Auckland and in this beautiful country we live in. So I'm blessed to raise up you and to be a part of your life, to play a role. Now I've launched you in God's purposes. God's got great destiny for you. And I really believe God's going to use you mightily to be a great man, not only for this nation, but beyond this nation. And I believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, one of the things I'm learning, me and Dad have very interesting views on different things. Right?
Everything, theology.
And everything. We challenge and we have like really healthy arguments. And I think
neighbors can hear.
And neighbors can't hear. Mom,
like we know.
Right? So it's very interesting because I'm learning one thing, like to listen to Dad, right? To hear what he's really saying. And obviously there's a lot of wisdom there. And like I'm young and I always have like these new ideas and ambitious ideas. And one thing I've learned, I think from Dad also and from my parents is when something new comes to me, I sit on it, I wait. I don't just act on it, I wait for like a month or two before, and I validate and I research and I make sure that what I'm feeling is not coming from the flesh, but coming from the spirit. And I think it's also definitely helped me. But like from a theology point of view, from a church perspective, from a ministry perspective, from a family perspective, from everything, we have different views, and it's definitely because of the exposure. But I don't think I don't think they're contradicting views. I think I think when you hear somebody else's view, your son's view, and I hear your views, it's a good opportunity for us to kind
bring
of
balance.
Yeah, to unleash, like what's the root of our ideas or our beliefs.
I think the foundations that are laid are good, and
we have to build upon them.
And build upon it. One of the things is, I have no problem in changing methods, but message can never be changed.
Yeah.
And so, as we evolve, the life is changing, the world is changing. I'm very, very open, and I'm much learning so much from Josh in the area of technology and things. And so I always say, hey, this is a good idea, let's bring it. And I'm very open. In fact, I do a lot of risk in doing that, and I have no problem with it because unless I don't try, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's always good to learn and grow. So I would encourage all the fathers to learn, keep growing, be open-minded, learn from your children, learn from others, learn from elders, learn from youngers, learn from female, learn from others, everybody. Be a learning heart, I think, is the key to a success of great ministry. And I think we've been successful because we have opened the door. And hey, we are not perfect. We will still do a lot of mistakes, but we believe that God is with us. And if we do rightly, raising up right children, more and more will rise up for God's kingdom.
Cool. Thank you. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's session. It is been interesting just to hear Dad speak, and I hope you've been able to glean into his wisdom. And thank you so much. And
thank you.
Happy Father's Day. And guys, I hope you have a great afternoon.